Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for episode number 44 of AppScan Tuesdays. And today I have with me Florin Coada. Hi Florin.
Hey, I'm back.
Yeah,
Still in lockdown, as you can see. The hair is getting longer and crazier. I don't even know how to handle that anymore. But I'm glad to be back.
but vaccination
More,
is coming on your side. Come on, people are getting vaccinated in UK a lot.
they're doing great. Uh, waiting my turn. But until then, we're doing lovely videos. We'll tell people how to do things. And the topic today is one that's been asked about quite a lot in the last say in the last year, last few months. And that is how to scan .NET Core applications with AppScan Source.
Yeah, we have still a lot of our customers on the on-prem, and we are giving a lot of the love for ASOC, but AppScan Source, here we come. So let's go quickly. Just before we go, .NET Core versus .NET, why does it matter from AppScan Source?
It doesn't matter that much. There are some limitations between them. We usually scan .NET applications in a similar way. If you want to scan assemblies, that's when things become different. .NET Core assemblies are a bit different to regular .NET, so there is some guidance in our online documentation on how to treat those.
Okay.
But if you're dealing with solution files, things should be fairly similar between the two of them. Nothing special. The one thing that we do have kind of a unique thing with AppScan Source around .NET is we need to be able to build the application in order to scan it. And we see that happening a lot in our environments. We do support .NET Core specifically up to 3.1. We kind of tolerated it for a long time now. We used to be able to scan it. We just had to do some tweaks, but now we officially blessed it again, made sure that it is working and there's no unexpected behavior while you scan them.
And when you're saying now, is that the 10.04 or before that?
That is in fact the 10.04, correct. 10.04 brought some updates to our major languages, Java support up to Java 11. We spoke about that 2 sessions ago, and then .NET, which is up to 3.1, and we are looking at Framework 5, .NET 5, whatever they called it. It's confusing because they have an MVC version 5, which people call .NET 5. So we are doing work to make sure we're up to date on that.
Sounds good. So let's jump right to it this time for the demo.
Awesome. So let me share my screen here in just a second.
Cool.
Now for this, we're going to do something different first. We're going to start with a failed scan. So what I'm going to do is I'll add a project, an application. Because it's a solution file, I don't really have to do a lot with AppScan. I just have to say open an existing application and point to the solution file. So in here, I'll point to my solution file. Lucky me, I pointed to the wrong one, but I'll have it open here. It's a simple .NET application. So as I open this one, I'm opening my solution file. And this will start loading it into AppScan Source. Now, after this point, there's not much I have to do to scan the application. But a lot of the times, what we see people doing is they import and they click scan application. And what you'll see in a few moments is something surprising happening, which is the scan fails. The reason we fail a lot of the scans is because we need to be able to build it, and you need to have the right version of .NET Core installed. So in my case, it tells me, hey, install the version 3.0 preview 7. Again, if you kind of try to do the same, if you want to check before using AppScan Source, just use the .NET Core build and see if you can build your application. In my case, you can see it's not available, so I need to fix that. In my case, I have the right version of it available here for installation. So it's 3.0, 3.01 preview 7. It's what I was told by AppScan that I need. It's what my project needs. You can also see this in the global JSON file. So if you open this one, it tells you the exact version you need to install. So make sure you have that available in your system. Alternatively, if this is a desktop environment, simply use Visual Studio, load the project, see the errors they tell you to fix, and then you can go from there. It will make it very easy for you to have everything ready.
And it's not something that AppScan is asking, it's something that the compilation needs. The project was defined to use it.
Because of our data flow, yes, we need to be able to build a project, and this is a project-specific setting. Now that I installed my .NET Core, I can go to my application. Same thing that failed a moment ago. And I can try to run this. Now, similarly, if I were to do this from the command line with my .NET Core, it should work, but we're gonna close this one for now and go back to AppScan and wait for the results to come through. Keep in mind, this is not a specifically vulnerable application. I just picked a random .NET Core application to showcase this. It's an open source one. Just wanted to show how it behaves in a real environment. And you can now see that it's processing the .NET target, is looking at scanning the different components it has for this project. And in a few minutes, this will be done. But while we do this, I do want to show you how to also perform this type of scanning from the command line. So what I'm going to do while this one is running the scan, I will just copy some paths here to keep it simple. This is my solution file, and similar to what we've done here, you can do the same thing from the CLI. So this one is nearly done with the scanning. We should get our successful scan back in a second. This will produce no findings. It is a very basic application that we have in this scenario, but it will be the same for any other application. The more complex the application is, the more dependencies you might have. So do make sure that you have everything available to do the build. If you need to run any NuGet packages or any of that, try to have those available. It will make it a lot easier for you when you try to do the scanning.
Do you want to load the command line for now? I mean, it builds the data flow and all that, and we know that can take longer because of the thoroughness of the scan and the build.
Correct. So while that happens, I do want to do exactly that. So I will point to my installation of AppScan Source. We're going to use the AppScan Source CLI, which is very popular with our automation users. One thing you'll notice here is I am using AppScan Source in disconnected mode. So after I click login, you'll see that. I'll put this in the background for a second. You see our scan finished successfully, no errors coming from this. It did come back with some findings. So if we open our assessment, we can see what's happening here in terms of findings. We found some cross-site scripting reflected here. If you were to use a bigger application, you might find some more interesting issues in there. But the important thing is it goes through successfully, it's able to build a project, and it doesn't have to deal with any compilation issues. So make sure you build it first. If it builds successfully, then you're in for a successful scan.
And of course, make sure you build it first on your machine. Just taking a project that can be built well on someone else's machine isn't good enough. You need all the
I would say make sure it's buildable on the scan machine, because in my case, this is the scan machine. So if you're doing this on a build machine, hopefully it should work in there because you're doing your build on that machine. Yeah. But if you are doing some security assessment locally on your machine, talk to a developer that knows how to build it. They will help you get through this successful. Now, from the command line, things are pretty simple. It follows the same principle as the UI. So the first thing I'll do is I'll open AppScan Source and I'll issue the login command. One thing you'll notice here is I'm using the feature that was introduced in AppScan Source 10.02, which allows me to run in disconnected mode, or what we call a standalone mode. So you see this lovely message coming up here. Now, what I have to do is I have to select the application I want to scan. Because I'm scanning a .NET application, I can simply point to the solution file. Once the solution file is open, I can issue the command to scan. You want to run with any specific scan configurations, you can do that as well. You can go through the process of telling which scan config to work with, which filters to apply. In my case, I'm just running with normal scan. And you'll see the output is very similar to what we saw in this console. It's kind of listing all the different files it's about to scan and prepare for scanning. And now it goes through the process of scanning the application. At the end of it, you'll get the same output, same information. And it's probably something that you'll want to use if you're looking at automating your .NET scans, whether you're going to be doing this through Jenkins or you're going to be doing this through a different automation tool. I'm expecting some Azure DevOps. If you're using a .NET environment, you should be able to run with this fairly successful.
Okay. Looks pretty simple, looks cool. And as you said, if we're running on the build machine, the first step shouldn't happen because the build machine can compile it, can build it, so AppScan Source will be able to do the same on that machine.
Correct. If you're doing things on a build machine, realistically, most of these things will already be available. You'll have all the dependencies available. You'll be running everything through your pipeline, I guess we can call it, whether it is DevOps or not. So you can easily get your scans done without too much hassle. So it is a pretty straightforward thing. The reason I want to do this demo is because getting support for .NET Core has been one of the top RFEs. As I said, we have been supporting this for a while. We didn't officially call it out, so we decided, okay, let's make sure we do all the additional checks and things work well and confirm that into the latest updates. And in my case, I'm running with 3.1.301 preview 7. You can obviously go up to 3.1 if you want to. Just make sure you have the right version available when you do the scanning. It's very important for both .NET Core and AppScan to have access to this information. And you can now see the tool again. It's kind of going through the data flow analysis. It's applying the machine learning. IFA, if you're familiar with it, and then kind of training back with whether findings it caught up.
Cool. Let's bring you back then.
That was it.
Thank you for doing the demo. We discussed about shorting some of our videos, so thank you for going really, really fast on it. Any other thoughts or items that you want the audience to know about AppScan Source with the .NET Core or in general in this?
I think we already mentioned what we're doing there. There are some additional projects to help speed up .NET in general with C#, VB, and ASP.NET. We will follow up with more information as we do some progress on those. I don't want to share the news before they're available for everyone, so I will just throw a spoiler out there and say we're doing some things to make it faster. If you look to run in a DevOps environment, very aggressive pipelines, very, very, very fast release cycles, we are looking to help you with those environments as well. And as always, we look forward to your feedback. If you find anything that you think would be interesting to us, let us know. Any frameworks you might be using, we appreciate all that knowledge, and we're hoping that you'll be able to find. See, I'm not sure if I want to say you'll find a lot of stuff or you'll not find a lot of stuff, because if you find a lot of stuff, that's great for us. That's our business model, but it's really bad for you because you have to fix them, and could mean that you might be in trouble a little bit.
If we are your customer, it's not great for us if you find a lot of stuff either. So
that is true.
In many
so
cases.
If you find a lot of stuff,
please fix them.
it. Fix them. If you have our emails, fix them. Credit cards specifically, fix those as well.
Cool. Thanks, Florin. And I'm sure I will see you or Matt to talk about another exciting project that we are bringing in the next few weeks. So until then, bye-bye.
Bye.